tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
I do.
You are the senior officer in charge of customs, are you not?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
So how is it that Tortelli got away with smuggling for so long? Don't you check anything that comes in the books?
In the books, yes. The actual cargo, no. The manifest submitted by Mr. Tortelli panned out, so I didn't suspect anything until the FBI looked through the books and realized that the load manifest did not match up with those of the actual cargo. I saw the load manifest, but did not check the hold. There was no reason to, so I didn't put two and two together.
So from the manifest it can be deduced that a lot of extra cargo was coming into the port. Did the agents find anything suggesting that goods were going out as well?
No, the export manifest matched up perfectly. I supervised the export process myself, so were there any extra baggage, I would have known and listed it.
So how does this explain the crate that was found? Wouldn't you have noticed it?
Well, normally, yes. And I checked everything before the ship departed, so
How could that be?
I've thought about that. It would have had to have been loaded after the ship left port. My guess is they loaded it onto the ship while it was passing through the channel on the way to the ocean.
Drake, the red mud. Get down to the morgue and see if you can get a sample of the mud from Malone's shoes. And then go down to the river and see if you can get me a sample of the mud there too. I think we'll have a match.
Can that be done?
I guess so. Ships move very slowly in the channel before they reach open ocean. It's possible that a couple of guys could have got on board.
So you are stating under oath that you did not see any discrepancies in the manifest and had no reason to believe anything was smuggled into your port.
No, sir. I don't know how that crate got there, but neither I or my men put it there.
How do we know you didn't put the crate on board yourself?
You saying something, Mr. Berger? So if you're saying that I'm red and you're dead, I would never help the Ruskies.
Thank you. Your witness.
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Berger, call your next witness.
I call Mrs. Malone to the stand.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God?
So is it true your son worked under Mr. Savinsky?
Yes, he was a supervisor down at the docks. My Mickey was a big boy. Wrong. Sometimes in this world, that is all it takes. He could lift a pallet without a forklift. That is how strong he was. I took him down there myself, and we applied for the job together. I had to speak for him, of course. Now, if you knew Mickey, you would know he was not dumb. No, not dumb, just distracted. But once he took a liking to you, he would be too good. Then again, he lost more than one friend from speaking his mind. He did not speak as freely as everyone else, but when he did speak, he really meant it.
So what can you tell me about Savinsky?
I know Stravinsky thought it was his right to call at all hours of the night and take my Mickey out to work, sometimes till the early dawn. I knew I didn't like him. He was not the man that hired my Mickey, and I met him once or twice when he picked Mickey up. He left a bad taste in my mouth.
What kind of work was Mickey doing all night?
Now that you ask, I remember him saying that Savinsky needed the extra muscle. Never could put that together. Mickey was not the type to use slang. I thought he meant, oh, You mean my Mickey was working for the mob?
I will be honest, Malone. I'm sorry for your loss. You witnessed.
Miss Malone, what was your first husband's name?
Stravinsky. His name was Ingvar Stravinsky. He was a baker, and he made the finest pastries in this little town. And he shipped boxes and boxes to the rich in the city that could afford the transport.
I see. But you tell me a little more about him, would you?
I would talk all day long about him if you would let me. How I loved him. How he made sure that I knew that he loved me. About the music and the fine parties we used to keep. Oh, even though I was dressed like a servant and carried a tray, I felt like 3 for a day at those parties. And the music.
And may I ask how he died?
Oh. He was making a routine delivery and was set upon by robbers. And they shot him dead for $102.
I'm very sorry, very sorry. That must have been hard on you. By the way, question here. Was Mickey a Stravinsky or a Malone?
He was my first husband's child. Bobby Malone was my second husband. He adopted us both, I guess you would say, after Ingvar was born.
And Mr. Malone, where is he now?
Sadly, he's gone too.
And how did he die?
His brakes failed and he went off to be rich.
You loved him?
Yeah, as much as I could, as much as he would let me. But not the same as Ingvar, we told him that. His coldness was his drink, his memories of the war, his mother's and father, and 101 other things that he would not talk to me about. When I would try to talk to him, he would just give me this whatever shrug. Go and leave me alone with the children. He never could hold a job. And he never helped me. And I don't think that much more reality.
I see. Well, I was under the impression that Mickey was your only child.
Well, I had a daughter, well, had a stepdaughter, whatever. After her father's death, I never saw her again. Good business, I say.
And her name?
Piggy, I mean, Peggy.
And where is she now?
Why would I care?
I see. No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Berger.
Peggy Malone.
I call the forensic expert to the stand.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Are you confident in saying that you are an expert in your field?
Well, certainly. I graduated from UC Davis with a BA degree in Bachelor Science. Excuse me. In forensic science.
Then can you please tell us what happened tonight in the alley?
Well, here as I can tell, the suspects were here. The officer approached from this direction. Savinsky fired first, we believe. There was a crossfire which resulted in the death of both Mr. Savinsky and the officer, and wounding Mr. Malone. The testimony from Mr. Mason, we determined a third party approach from this direction, where again gunfire broke out, resulting in the death of the remaining men. We found bullets from 5 different guns.
I see. This all sounds very confusing.
Indeed it is, and mind you, this is very conjecture. The only thing we know for certain is that all the men on the scene were shot with one gun, at least once. Until this gun is found, we can determine nothing for certain.
Is it not true that the only one with any motive would be Mr. Kelly, the smuggler himself?
That is beyond the realm of my expertise. On that, I cannot comment.
Thank you. The people rest. Your witness, Mr. Mason.
No questions, Your Honor. May I request a short recess so I can get my notes together and prepare, please?
Let it be so. We break for lunch. Be back here in 2 hours. Are you
Later, yes. Are you prepared to call your witness?
I am, Your Honor. I would like to call Miss Peggy Malone to the stand.
I'm here, Mr. Mason.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Miss Peggy, may I call you Peggy?
Yes, please.
Peggy, where have you been living these last few years since the death of your father?
In the Manchester Institute for the Mentally Ill.
Can you explain why?
Well, when my father died, I told the police what I thought Leather had done it. When they wouldn't listen, I tried to find proof. I thought I had the proof I needed when the police showed up. Mother was all cut up and crying, and she said I had done it. I had hurt her. I tried to tell him what she had done, and they wouldn't hear me. And they decided I was hysterical. The next thing I knew, I was in jail. The psychiatrist there said I was blaming my mother for misplaced grief. But I know she did it. I know my mother is guilty.
Stop fighting me, mother!
Order! Order!
Peggy, what makes you think your stepmother killed your father?
I heard them arguing, a lot of yelling and screaming. She was screaming something in Russian, and she hit him. I must have heard it from the other room. And then I heard my father say something about he would choose his country over her. Then he went and he locked himself in the bedroom. I put my ear to the door, and I couldn't hear anything. I went to check on Mother, and saw her under the car. In the garage, I was confused. I went back and hid in my room. A few minutes later, I heard my father leave. I came out to the hall to see if Mother was all right. She was on the phone, speaking fast, and Russian again. Then she yelled at me to go to my room. I stayed there until the police came to tell his father was dead.
Then what happened?
Well, at first, I was too stunned to put everything together. And some weird guy came over, and they talked in Russian. But I heard my dad's name, and they were laughing. That's when I remembered seeing her under the car. And I remembered I found a manila envelope, a passport, a lot of money in it. When I went to tell the police, she was blaming me for hurting her. I guess they just didn't hurt me. I told them in jail what I knew, and they decided I was delusional. I've been at the Institute ever since, Mr. Mason. I know how it must sound. I do. She's a spy, and my mother's a cold-blooded murderer!
You little bitch! I should have killed you then and there. But I saw you as a child, so I tried to get you out of the way without hurting you. Had I known you betrayed my kindness, I would have finished you dead.
Thank you.